YouTube, how are you now? Sean back here from the EDC Den. Welcome back one and all to the channel. Guys, today we are looking at some Swiss Army knives. These are the 111 millimeter series. That is the largest size folding tool that Victorinox makes, 111 millimeters. So these are the 5 that I have. I'm not going to say they're the best out of the bunch, but these are the ones that I've picked up over the years. They're really great tools. Victorinox offers a wide spectrum of tools in this size, all kinds of different options. We're going to go through these, and we're also going to mention a few that I do not have that are either on my wish list or just really well liked by the masses. So let's start on the outside. The first one I got is this one-handed trekker. And I have featured this knife in other videos on my channel. You can go check that out. I think we did some fire building with this one. I keep this in a dedicated fire kit because it does have a locking blade here as well as a saw. So I don't know if we're going to go through all these tools individually. I think we kind of are comfortable with the the tweezers toothpick, the can opener here, a driver back here that's a Phillips driver, and an awl. The nice kind of standout tools on this one would be a locking flathead driver and bottle opener. It's very solid. You could do some light prying with that. It is locking, like I said. It's a liner lock, and it does have a half stop, and that can kind of be nice for creating torque when you're using this as a screwdriver. The one-handed blade, so using the thumb hole to get that open. This one is not serrated, it's just the straight edge. Again with a liner lock. You can see there it says press. And like I said, there is a saw on this model. Non-locking, but it is nice and long. Get a nice grip there. This kind of hump gets in the way for the one-handed opening. We'll talk more about this on this Forester model here. So this is the one-handed trekker. They do make this in a non-one-handed version. I would maybe recommend that just to keep that bump out of the way when you're using the saw. So this was the first 111 millimeter Swiss Army knife that I got about 10 or 12 years ago. It has served me really well. And let's go through some of these other ones that have found their way into the collection. So right opposite of the one-hand trekker, we've got this. This is the Adventurer. This was sent to me by a good friend of mine and the channel, Stuart Harvey. So this does also have a locking blade. It's not one-handed, it's not serrated, it is just a large straight edge blade. And here is the lock. So that is just a slide lock. You slide that out of the way to allow the blade to close. Really nice feature. And these little grips work really well for activating that. Familiar looking backside to this tool. This is very much a streamlined tool. It just has the drivers here and the openers, and then the blade. So it is basically the one-handed trekker minus the saw, and you can see the savings in thickness and the lack of one-hand opening on the blade. This makes for a really good EDC knife if you're kind of in an urban setting. Really excellent, nice and light, nice and slim. Just works really well in the pocket and in hand. All right, moving along to these two blue knives. These are both called Skippers. This one is the Pro, and this is just the Skipper. Let's start here with the Pro. Again, all the tools you would expect with your drivers and openers here. Another one-hand opening blade. You can see that this one is serrated. Isn't it interesting how Victorinox does their serrations? As you can see, they keep this part of the blade unserrated, and that is for, carving a stick. You could also do your cardboard like that, so kind of those cuts that you would do close to the pivot point, and up here is where you have your serrations. Really great for cutting into food, your meats or steaks. Also great for things like, cutting through rope or hard plastic, stuff like that. Let's get in close on these serrations. They do an excellent job with these. These are extremely sharp. You can see on the back side of the tool that there's no sharpened bevel here like you see on this side. So I guess that would make this a chisel grind, right guys? There's no bevel here, it's all on this side, and you would strictly sharpen this side if you were going to sharpen this knife. You would not sharpen this back portion here. So that's pretty interesting. The chisel grind is not something I generally like on my knives, but it does work well in this application, I think, from Victorinox. Again, with the liner lock, with the word press, push that in, get rid of your blade. Again, with your drivers here. Now check out this. This is the Marlin spike. This is a locking tool as well. Okay, so that is also on a liner lock. See that snap into place. 3 back springs dedicated to just this one tool. It is a very, very solid tool. So this is called the Skipper Pro, and this tool would be meant for, they say that you can work this tip into knots to help loosen knots. You can also use this as a shackle key. Interesting construction on this spike. You can see the rivets here and a seam going down the middle, and your rivets on the other side. I think there is one more rivet deeper back that you can't see. So it looks like it's put together in 2 pieces, but this is, like I said, just extremely solid. And if you don't have any kind of sailing applications to use for this tool, I would imagine this would make a fairly mean self-defense implement. Swiss Army knives is the last thing you would think of for self-defense, but this is locking, it's quite pointy, and I'm thinking just, pressure points. You kind of start digging this into somebody's hand or into their ribs, stuff like that. It's going to have them likely complying with you in a quick hurry. So that's pretty cool. I've never seen such a beefy Marlin spike on a Swiss Army knife before, so I did pick it up pretty much for that reason. Also a nice little feature is a compass. So if you're ever lost at sea, you just hold this, you point it out straight, right? You just look at it straight like this and you find your way north. So that is actually a functioning compass, guys. You'll never get lost at sea with your compass on your Swiss Army knife. I can't believe they didn't consider that a tool on the website. Did come with this lanyard and the old key ring here. So that's a pretty unique one. Let's show you its brother, the Skipper Non-Pro. Similar tool set. Let's see the blade. Yeah, this one is also serrated the same way, but it's missing the one-hand opening function. Quite comfy in the hand though, without that bump messing up your grip. So that's pretty sweet. I've been carrying this one quite a bit actually. I do like the tools available on this one. So that was the blade. Again, we've got our usual drivers and openers. Here it gets a little bit interesting with the pliers. Great set of pliers actually, guys. This is like I said, not a huge tool or anything. This isn't a plier based tool, but for a knife based tool, this is a pretty decent set of pliers. There's no wiggle or anything. Everything's really well put together. Give you a look at the teeth there. So you're not going to rebuild your old car or anything with this, but you can take hot things off the fire, you can pluck hairs, you can crack pistachio nuts, just all kinds of out-of-the-box jobs that this can get done. You really don't realize what they can do until you start thinking of them basically as a tiny pair of fingertips, right? You can just pinch and pull and twist and all that stuff. So they do come in quite handy. The other unique tool on this is another Marlin spike and shackle key. You can see it looks nothing like the other one, but it does serve a similar purpose. You can see this tapered tip here. Again, work that into a knot to loosen the knot. You can use this for opening and closing your shackles. This one is non-locking. That's just a slip joint mechanism. And at the back we've got the awl and the corkscrew. In the middle here we've got the Swiss Army Forester. Really nice knife. This is in walnut wood covers. Openers here. Here's your blade. Non-serrated, non-one-hand opening, so you do get that nice grip. Fits really nicely in the hands. This is a locking blade. And you've also got the saw on this one. It is not a locking saw, but it's still that nice long saw that you can actually get some really good work done with. With the walnut covers, you're not going to get your toothpick and tweezers. You do get the corkscrew and the awl at the back. So that's a pretty good little kind of hiking knife. You could do your fire building with that. You know, you do have a locking blade. You've got the nice saw. So, and it's also the saw without the one hand opening. So it is a more comfortable grip than the saw on this one. Even though this is my dedicated fire making knife, I've had this one for a long time, whereas this one is much newer to me. Just excellent quality on Victorinox knives. Really good stuff. Part of the intent of this video is just to show you guys some of the 111 millimeter lineup. I'm just going to name a few that are not shown here that are either very common just to the general population or a couple that I specifically might be interested in acquiring. So I'm looking at the rescue knife, the Hercules, the Hunter, and what's the last one? The Work Champ. If I was going to suggest something to someone just starting out with the Swiss Army knives, or more specifically these larger Swiss Army knives, really my initial choice that I made back in the day when I picked this one, I do stand by that. Maybe go for the non-one-hand opening so it's a little more comfortable when you're using the saw. So if you're kind of in the bush a lot or going on hikes or fire building, go for the Trekker. If you're more of a city person, the Adventurer is just awesome. Like I said, the way it carries is just second to none. These two here, certainly more specialized. I mean, I really rarely carry or use this one. It's more of a collectible for me. I just really like that giant marlin spike on it. This one here does get used and carried. I do like those little pliers. This is the smallest 111 millimeter Swiss Army knife that I could find that had the pliers, so I got this one. And yeah, of course, the rest of the tools are great also. It's nice and slim without the hump here for the one-hand opening, so I really do like that one. This one's similar to a Victorinox Alox Farmer. A farmer would have similar tools as this, but it would be smaller and it would be in this Alox design. And you really can't talk about these or suggest Swiss Army knives to people, or at least I can't, unless I do mention the Alox Pioneer. This is my go-to EDC pretty much. You can also look at the Pioneer X, which is a lot more common now than back in the day when I was really into my Pioneer. So I don't have the X, but the X is this knife with a pair of scissors included. So you can either go for this slimmed down 2-layer version or go for a 3-layer Pioneer with the scissors. Excellent, excellent knife. If you are willing to jump up in size and weight, then we absolutely have to mention a full-on plier-based multi-tool, and that is the Victorinox Spirit X. And yeah, you pretty much get everything you need with this one. The saw, the file, the scissors, the knife. It is not quite as good of a blade, maybe as large of a blade as you would see on these, because it is a plier-based tool. So if you're going for knife-based, go with these 111s. If you're going for plier-based with just, you still get your Swiss Army knife, then there you go. Just a look at the tool selection here. I'm not going to name everything. They are pretty easy to identify. One of my favorites right here. Chisel, package opener, stripper. There's your awl. and a great set of pliers. These are all locking tools, guys. Just really, really a sweet tool. Here's your pliers. All the tools accessible from the outside on this one, with the exception of the pliers, of course. This comes with a nice sheath for belt carry. If I told you guys that this rides pretty well in a coin pocket, would you believe me? It's actually true. It's, you know, it's fairly thin. You're going to get at least this much in your coin pocket. A little bit sticking out, but the majority of the tool is definitely buried, and it does fit better than these thicker 111 millimeter tools. Just get a little thickness comparison there. So that's pretty nice for a full-on tool set. Alright, this video is dragging on a little bit. I won't keep you guys much longer. I did just want to give you kind of a look at these 111 millimeter Swiss Army knives. Those are my favorite sizes, I believe. Just the grip that you get with this full-size contoured handle is really nice. I do hope to add a couple more of these to the collection. Like I said, I'm looking at the Hercules, the Work Champ, if that's what it's called, the Rescue, and also the Hunter. So just a couple other ones for you guys to search out if you're interested in this size. Okay folks, like I said, these have made an appearance on the channel before and they will continue to do so. Really hoping to get outside more than I have been lately. You know, this lockdown stuff has got us sticking close to home, so that's been a bit of a challenge for the videos. I really wanted an outdoor element to this channel, so hopefully I do get outside plenty in the near future and show you some videos of these knives in action. Alright, well I hope everyone is doing really well out there and staying safe. Guys, we will see you very soon in the next video. Take care everybody.